Have you ever found yourself in one of those compromising positions in life where you were trying to figure out somebody else's intentions? Maybe somebody is actually committed to you in some kind of a way. It could be in a relationship or maybe a profession of some kind. I'm talking about compromise today at its lowest level. Some of you who are watching today have been hurt by a lot of those who are closest to you. And one of the things that I want to get into is this real dynamic, this discussion about what compromise really is and is it worth doing, is it worth avoiding, and where that comes from. I'm your host, Egypt McKee, and welcome to another installment of Straight Talk with Egypt McKee. It's kind of weird talking about myself in third person, but hey, it's just the way we roll around here. But compromise is one of these things that, I was thinking about. We see it a lot going on even in the political realm. We see it in the government realm. We see it in families. And I was just with a group of 20-somethings last night. This was really kind of cool because one of the questions that I pitched to them was this entire idea about being humble enough to go where God would want them to go. Now, I know a lot of you might say, oh my gosh, the God talk, and I didn't have a good relationship in church or a good experience in life, so you've kind of taken yourself to a place where you've removed yourself off the board or off the equation because you felt that it wasn't relevant to you or that you just didn't want to play the game anymore. But the reality is that every one of us makes choices in life that end up defining us. Every choice that we make, whether it's what I call a perfunctory choice, one of those mechanical daily choices of what am I going to wear, where am I going to go, what am I going to eat? And then there are choices that relate to your character. What kind of person am I going to be? Like a lot of times if we were to create a list of our top 3, top 10, top 20 things that we would like to be known as in life, I have to wonder what will be on your list. A lot of times people talk to me about, I want to be successful. I want to make a lot of money. I want to be famous. I don't know what your thing is, but I wonder where things like humility and compassion and generosity rank on your list. Is it way down near the bottom, or maybe it didn't even make the cut? I'm not sure about you, but a person who says, I want to be known as a generous person, you really have to practice generosity. And oftentimes I look at a lot of 20-something, 30-something-year-old relationships, particularly in dating, which end up being a marriage relationship or a family relationship. And somehow we're running in circles, always trying to fill in those parts where we thought we were ripped off at some point. Now, I don't have to teach you pain or teach you someone backstabbing you or someone ratted you out or told a secret or, shared something very personal in your life with somebody else that you wish they didn't do. But the truth of the matter is it's rare that you actually get to come to a place where you actually hear an argument that is your life, unplugged, unfolded, that actually has a real message of hope and encouragement to it. At the end of the day, we're all created for a reason much greater than ourselves. It's so easy to get around people and maybe give the religious talk or the rah-rah motivational talk. But there's a truth that, I have to wonder if you're really struggling to seek it out, to really find it at all costs. So here's the deal. I want to set the stage up for you a little bit. I was thinking about these relationships that are in implosion mode. You know the ones I'm talking about. Maybe someone was crossing the line. We always talk about this idea of I can look, but I just can't buy. I'm not sure about the attitude, if you're dating or married to someone that you can look with the intent of not buying. Well, the whole intent of even looking in the first place is all motivated by the idea to buy. And really, we've already bought with a currency that we can neither manufacture nor can we store. It just will not make us the kind of people that we're supposed to be. So I'm going to run a clip for you. It comes from the movie Family Man, featuring Nicolas Cage and Téa Leoni, about an issue of compromise that maybe you find yourself in a very similar situation. I'm going to come back here in just a moment, but I want you to watch closely about what's taking place here. See if you can find maybe yourself or maybe someone you know living this very same situation.
Hi, Jack.
Evelyn, right?
Very funny. Saw you out on lane 20. You got the flu or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Need a nurse?
Are you a nurse?
That's what you want.
Hey, wait a minute. Don't run away. Are we?
Are we what, Jack?
Well, is there something going on between us?
Are we finally being honest?
It would help me if we were.
Okay. You're right, we've been dancing around this for years. Here goes. When I get dressed for a party and I know you're going to be there, let's just say I don't go strapless because my husband likes it. I've got 6 sets of snow tires piled up in my garage, and I won't even drive in the snow. And our kids just happen to be in the same ballet class every year. So, if you're asking whether I'd like it to be more, the answer's yes. Kate would never have to know.
Do I have your number?
Steve's out of town with the kids this week. Why don't you just stop by?
Now, I don't know about your chocolate in life, but I got to tell you this. Everybody has a chocolate in life where they actually have a soft spot, a weak spot, a place for that fetish that can be fed in secret. You know the one I'm talking about, the one in fantasy, and the place in your mind where you entertain and rehearse over and over these crazy scenarios of meeting that hot guy or that hot chick and having your arm candy and your washboard abs, and you think you're all that in your own little world that you created. Truth is that's not even real, and that's not even real people. But you know what is real? What's real is that circumstance and that situation. A married man messing around and hanging around on the border and listening to the discussions of his own hype, of his own fame. Somehow it's like, you know, making a commitment seems like we want the affirmation of other people to come into our lives and basically affirm us for what we either are or we are not. Because maybe we feel that our mate is not giving us a certain something, and because we've placed our identity into their trust at the end of the day. You know, this is one of those scary things because, you know, with every imploding relationship I've ever seen, I've ever been able to be a part of either life coaching or counseling or some sort of intervention and turnaround strategy, one common denominator is always true. There are absolutely no boundaries in those relationships. Maybe that's your life right now. I mean, think about this for a second. You try to get some rest, you get up into your day, you start showering, you go through your grind. So you've got this repetition, this whole cycle of stuff that's going on in your life, and you're just trying to fit in. You're trying to figure out, how am I going to make money today? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to be known in this world? And by the way, am I valuable? You see, every single one of us, even the rich guy, the homeless guy, the poor guy, the guy doing his life, is all asking these simple questions. Am I going to be okay? It's simply put, am I going to be okay? And I can't help but think about the numbers of relationships that teeter on implosion and destruction, all because it sounds good, it smells good, and it looks good on the other side. The grass always seems to be so much greener over there. Wow, listen to the party going on. Man, those people are having a good time. Look at my life stinks. I got a wife who hates my guts, kids screaming through the roof, I'm in debt. I want to go party and live up the high life like I owe myself. Here's one of the words that I call my greatest pet peeve word in the history of pet peeve words, and it's this word deserve. Have you listened to how many times you've used the word deserve, or other people have used the word deserve? Let me tell you something, girl, you know you deserve better than that. You know, you deserve. What is with this word deserve that we actually think we deserve more than what we actually have? You know, I always think about what the enemy in anything does. The enemy is always trying to inflect himself into your culture to really understand you and learn about you. But in this kind of a situation where Nicolas Cage's character was faced with the wife of a neighbor, you know, who has got the hots for him, and playing this game of teasing and primping around and avoiding, you know, the real issue at hand until it's faced on with a direct question. Do we have something going on here? I have to wonder, do you really have something going on in your life that deserves attention? If I were to sit down with you and ask you one question, what question would you not want me to ask? I mean, what would be so impactful that you would not want me to ask that question because it would cause you to have to deal with truth and reality and maybe the ugliness of some of your choices and decisions? It's kind of like what I call that Facebook status. You know, the one that says relationship status. It's complicated. Isn't that just another way of saying I'm currently making stupid choices right now? Because really that ought to be the billboard. Because anything that's complicated really shouldn't be all that complicated. Either it is or it isn't. It's kind of where we get that expression, it is what it is. Well, nevertheless, I'm going to press on here a little bit more in today's show, and I'll get back to that in just a bit. But before I do, I want to take you to this exciting new movie about moms. I tell you, I love the dynamics of families, and because, you know, young girls grow up to be beautiful young women who grow up to ultimately be beautiful wives and mothers and grandmothers. And I love the dynamic of the progression of life about Mom's Day Out, chronicling the story of a mom who just wants to get away from all the madness, the screaming kids, macaroni and cheese, hot dogs, diaper changes, and all of the madness of the house to just go out and really chill just for a day. Enjoy this trailer. Maybe you'll go out and see the movie. I hope you will. Go and support it. It's a great inspirational movie that I think will bring both crying and tears to those closest to you, starting with you.
Mom, Beck's playing in the toilet again. Surprise! We made you eggs. Where's sugar?
Oh, no, no, no. He's gonna put that in his mouth and become one of the 400 estimated people that die from acute salmonella. Do not put that finger in your...
Oh, you having a rough morning?
Tell me it's all gonna be okay.
It's all gonna be okay. Just give it 5 years. Year 7 or 5.
You have to choose to do something for yourself.
I planned this mom's night thing for Saturday.
You planned a mom's night?
Yes, sister.
What's the worst thing that can happen?
They could get maimed. I could lose both children. It's getting hot in here. Wow, you look amazing.
Ladies, tonight is our night, and we look good.
I cannot find your reservation.
I just want to sit down with my friends without 3 little people clawing all over me.
You're getting a little angry, and it's doing something ugly to your face.
Joey, you're supposed to be watching our baby. Who has him?
Bones.
He's at the tattoo parlor.
Who would bring a baby to a tattoo parlor? That's dumb.
I know.
That is real dumb.
Okay, so here's the plan. We take them inside, get their hands stabbed, and they can't get out. Like Shawshank Redemption.
Bones, my baby.
I called Caprice, and Caprice said she'd take him. Do I know you from somewhere?
My husband's the pastor of First Baptist.
Lollapalooza.
No.
Ozfest?
Never.
Live Aid.
Please stop.
I had tonight playing out differently in my mind.
We got a baby to find.
Don't freak out. Half these guys are from First Baptist Church. The other half are from the biker gang known as the Skulls. The biker gang known as the Skulls.
Allie, it's me. Just wanted to let you know that everything's going great here. We're all good. We're gonna take a little trip to the hospital. Searing pain! Oh!
Life is about finding the meaning and the joy and the purpose in all the chaos.
Hon, your job.
It's hard, I know.
Important. That's what I was gonna say.
I love you the most of everybody. I'm a mess, but I'm a beautiful mess. I'm his masterpiece, and that's enough. That's my van! Get the van! The van! This has been the worst night ever. I honestly don't know how it could get any worse.
Stand down.
How dare you? My husband is pastor at
He
First...
just came in here and started. That was an accident.
That was awesome. Lesson learned, never tase mama at the end of that clip. I got to tell you, that's just one of those things. You want to go out and take your mom or your wife or your girlfriend out to see that. Great movie for the family, very inspirational. And one of the things that we need to get back to is just a place where we can just chill in life and not always have to be blowing up stuff outside of diapers. But nevertheless, moving on a little bit, I got a special guest with me today, surfer, snowboarder extraordinaire. Yes. Aaliyah Ricciardi. I tell you what, she's in the house today. I'm gonna spend a little bit of time with her, but before I do, take a look here, at her video promo. Welcome to the show, Aaliyah Ricciardi. I tell you, I hope I got that right, but Aaliyah, thanks for being with me on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, always. You know what? I don't even know where to begin with you, because a lot of times I see young ladies getting into some of these extreme sports. I mean, you're just like the connoisseur of it all here. You've got the snowboarding winter aspect going on, and then of course you have the surfing, you know, really all season kind of sport going on. Tell me, how did you even get started in these sports?
Well, surfing I started very young, around 6 years old, and I didn't really get really into it until probably like high school, and then I started snowboarding 2 years ago.
Wow.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, first of all, and there you go again, girl. I tell you, you're bringing some excitement right now that just has me flying off my chair right now. One of the things I want to ask you about is really your inspiration and really even starting out, because a lot of times, you know, I even know with musical instruments, you know, someone will start that, and I was one person who played in the orchestra for years during school. You start something, but it just kind of wears off on you. You just don't really want to stick with it. Have you ever had those kind of experiences where you just said, you know what, I'm really not sure if this is going to take, or am I just doing this because it's just kind of a part of the grind, it's just nothing else really to do?
Well, I have had that thought before, and I was just talking to my family about it recently, talking about taking a break from snowboarding and focusing just on surfing and trying to get just progress as much as I can with that.
Well, that in itself is a big enough feat as it is. I always asked you, you know, if you would take a big guy like me and go out to the beach and actually teach me how to surf, because, you know, I see surfers and I think, you know, that's something I want to really learn to do. Now, whether I could actually learn to do, I'm sure I can learn to do it, just like I've been jumping out of planes for years. I think I'll trade you. You down for that trade? You know,
No.
You teach me how to surf, I'll teach you how to skydive. We good with that?
No, I don't want to die.
I mean, well, Leah, let me tell you something. I don't want to drown either, but you're a girl that's talking about wanting to get in with shark tanks and all this other cool stuff with these crazy, you know, sea creatures that, you know, I just don't want that around me. At least you don't have that up in the air, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly, but you do have the ground, and the ground hurts when you hit it at fast speeds. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, tell me about your sponsorships. Tell me how that process even works. Are you currently competing right now? You have events going on that you're committed to that our audience needs to know about?
I got sponsored in snowboarding a year after just starting the sport, and at first they were just giving me free clothes and just letting me do whatever I wanted, and I landed a front flip, and I was wearing these Oakley goggles that one of my friends gave me for free. So.
Wow.
That was probably one of the best things I could have done at the time, because after that, I got a rep from there, and he just...
Now, was that intentional? Is that something you actually did on purpose, or was that accidental and you even scared yourself?
They were doing the blowers that day, so the snow was like super powdery. So a few of my friends and I were like, oh, let's just practice front flips today. And I was like, all right, we'll just do that. So we just were messing around, and we were like wanting to get it on film for like Instagram. And I ended up wearing the goggles with it because the snow was like blowing our eyes.
Now tell me, is that something that took several different tries, maybe some bruised bones, a sore back? I mean, how did that work out?
My hair was frozen solid for like 3 hours.
Wow.
I couldn't even comb through it. It was just ice. And there was this one video that I haven't shown anyone. It's like I am going, and you see me overshoot the jump, and it's just face plant. So.
Really? Okay. You know, I noticed you didn't provide that one for your promo piece here. You know, we could have slowed that up a lot to really show a little emphasis there.
Yeah, you could see my goggles and my headphones just pop off when I hit my face.
Wow. So tell our viewing audience a little bit about really your overall goal. I mean, you know, at some point, you know, it's not enough, I'm sure, to be sponsored, receive, you know, be it products or product placement, but that you actually want to go somewhere with this and actually be able to either touch lives or be able to excel at the highest levels. What is your overall goal?
I wouldn't really call it a goal per se, because I mean, I do surfing and snowboarding because I love it, and I love meeting new people and hearing their stories and just things about them and where they're going in their lives. And I do surfing more than snowboarding, even though I got progressed really fast in snowboarding, but I feel a lot closer to like God and to my friends when I'm surfing, and it's just like, it's a feeling that you just can't take away, and it's probably the reason why I do what I do.
Well, that's pretty impressive. I got to tell you, it takes, first of all, a lot of guts and a lot of courage to not only get up on that board, but to keep doing it. And I know you've been an inspiration to several others, and I'm sure you have, you know, others who kind of follow along with you. Tell our viewing audience how they can get connected with you. I mean, I know you're out there on social media. I want to give them an opportunity to be able to follow you and kind of hear your latest stories and connect with you, maybe even have some additional questions that you can inspire them with.
Yeah, you can reach me on Twitter and Instagram. My name is Aaliyah Ricciardi, at Aaliyah Ricciardi. So. And
we always say that's when you can look down on the screen and you can kind of figure out the spelling of her name. But she's out there, and you know, Aaliyah, you know I'm going to continue following you, and you know that we're going to, you know, always be behind you. Why? Because I believe in you. And number two, you know, you're going to teach me how to surf, and I have to be really nice to you.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. But nevertheless, you know, I love doing that. And thank you for being a guest with me here on Straight Talk. You know what we're going to do is, you know, as we get ready to roll on here for a second, I want you to take a look at some of the things that we call pet peeves in lives. You know, Samantha has a message. She talks about a few annoying words that may resemble a little bit of your life. Enjoy.
These are things that really annoy me. When people say nuclear instead of nuclear, shorten words like totes, obvi, legit. When you're in the bathroom and there's no toilet paper on the roll. When you forget what you were about to say. When people deal with fear or a strong emotion by laughing. When no one is listening to you. When people are texting when something important is happening. When people say nuclear, why can't they just read it? They say nuclear. Where's the U in the middle? It's nuclear. Like, they're talking and there's like, hey, that's so obvious, legit. Pots, total, totes. It's like, that's not even a word. Like, when people are at the restaurant and they're like, pass me the guac. What the heck is guac? Guacamole, dummy. No, it's not in the dictionary. I don't know what that means. You sit down, you're like, okay, I'm done. And then you reach over and there's no toilet paper. Next thing you know, you're like, Mom, I need toilet paper. Yeah, that's, it's not gonna work. You're having a really nice conversation with someone like your dad, your mom. You're like, hey, so today I was just talking about... I don't remember. I have a friend, and she went to a funeral, and her friend's dad just died. And she was laughing the whole funeral. Everyone's just glaring at her. Number one, it's just rude. Number two, who laughs when someone dies? When no one is listening to you. That is just the... No one likes that. Like, you're talking to your friends and you're like, oh, hey, guys, and they just keep talking. Legit. Guys. Guys. Like, so disgusting. I'm gonna go get a tattoo. Ew. No? When people are texting, when something important is going on. Oh, I know, right? Oh, hey. So, I wasn't texting. July.
Now that was a fun little piece from Samantha. I love the issue of annoying words. I think we've all experienced those in life. But you know, this show was really designed to really take you to a place where you can really start to reflect on some of the things that really matter in your own life. You know, I realize, and there's a healthy respect that I have for the fact that, you know, we're all walking different paths in life. We all have different experiences that, you know, we really want to mean something when it's all said and done. I want you to reflect upon this in the area of compromise in life. The real question that really comes from all of this before a compromise is even generated is really, what should my response be? You know, not so much a pre-programmed response, but what is the appropriate response in this situation right here, right now? You know, there really isn't a one size fits all, one all be all kind of scenario that is reflected here, but there's something to be said about you asking that question. What is the appropriate response from me in this moment? And that might have a lot to do with just how humble you really are. Now, if you ask me, humility is a tough thing to grasp because you just can't be it without having the author of humility in your life. Well, that's pretty much as we wrap up here on the show today. I want to thank you for being with us. I want to give you ways and opportunities you can connect with us. Very simple. I'm out there on social media. Connect with us at Facebook/Egypt Speaks. Very simple to get to. Also on Twitter at twitter.com/Egypt McKee. Out there on Instagram at /Egypt Speaks. And of course, use the hashtag regularly, hashtag Straight Talk with Egypt. I tell you, we'd love to have you come back, invite your friends, let your family, friends, and everyone across the nation know what we're trying to do here at this show. We want you to be a part of this community. Why? Because I'm here to be an encouragement to you. Why? Because there's not a lot of encouraging places you can go on television. I tell you what, you can watch all kinds of stuff about young girls being pregnant and being stuck with that baby and trying to figure out where they're going in life, and their lives are all peachy and everything's looking great, but they're really a wreck. It's what I call a hot mess. You heard me? Well, stick with me. Straight Talk is all about you. Why? Because you matter. Join us again next time. I am your host, the above average Egypt McKee. I love you. I'll see you next time.